This week on Cruisin'.
All the damage done to this van was done by pumpkins.
Well, who knew a pumpkin was so dangerous?
And they're kind of top secret, nobody talks about them.
But we have them here later in the show.
There's some fast cars, but right now we hold the record.
200 miles per hour in 3.65 seconds. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fast. This episode of Cruisin' is at the IX Piston Powered Auto-Rama.
Hey, we'd love to have you guys here, and you're always welcome.
Well, thanks, Steve. Cruisin' starts right now. In early spring in Brook Park, Ohio, at the International Exposition Center, there's a show called the Piston Powered Show. Now, it's a celebration of the combustion engine. If a piston makes it go, it's in the show. No plug-ins here, no electric cars. In the vastness of the IX Center, welcome to Cruisin'. We got a lot of ground to cover. Let's go check it out. Jeff Payton, taking a look at your blood, sweat, and years T51 Mustang.
It's a replica of a P51D Mustang. And you get it in a whole bunch of pieces. Looks like a dragster sitting on the floor, and by the time you get done building it, hopefully you have something that looks like a Mustang.
And it took you, what, about 3 years to get the whole thing put together?
3 years to build it. We have 2,000 man hours. Just love it. We cruise about 180 miles an hour. It's aerobatic. We can do any positive G maneuver.
Call sign is Shrek. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, well, that's pretty easy to figure out. The guys named me that, and then if you see the back of the airplane, I carry Shrek with me. So wherever I go, the kids love him. So it is what it is with that one.
Now, you talked about a program where you can take kids up, get them interested in aviation.
Yeah, it's the EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association, which we're all a member of. And we have a program called the Young Eagles Program, which we give rides to kids from 8 to 17, different times in different parts of the country. I get more excitement out of the older generation with the Mustang. The kids are excited about it. I get a lot of World War II vets that come down and look at this airplane and brings back a lot of memories for them. I get real P-51 pilots that will come up to me at a lot of shows and talk nostalgia. And they're thanking me, and I'm really thanking them for doing what they did. So these airplanes just do a lot for everybody.
Well, when I started this project, I didn't want it to be normal in any way, shape, or form. So this is what I ended up with.
Looks like you've collected a little bit of hardware, though.
Yeah, this was all this year, except for the picture. That's what it looked like in 2007 before I started doing this stuff to it. And I thought it'd be kind of neat because it's actually a picture here at the Hot Rod Power Tour at the IX Center here. So I thought it was kind of apropos to bring it and show it off a little bit.
What's the future?
Future is to drive the car, enjoy the car. I am not a guy to build something, look at it, and say that's it. I've got to drive it. You know, I spent all this time and effort to do it, and I'd like to reap the rewards from it. So.
Well, they say at the Piston Powered Show, if a piston makes it go, it'll be in the show. Well, the show doesn't go without Steve Legursky, show manager. How do you like it so far? We're in the thick of it.
We love it, man. I mean, the show has absolutely exploded with the number of cars and motorcycles and airplanes that we have here. I mean, the whole show floor is covered. The main floor, the South Hall, man, we don't have a square inch to put another vehicle in here.
Now, the concept has grown over the years, and you're seeing in this year's incarnation, what do you see it for maybe next year?
Well, next year is the 50th anniversary of the show. The show started back in 1966. So 2016 will be the 50th anniversary of this show. So I think what we're going to do, and you know, we've talked a little bit about it. We're going to carve up the show a little bit, and we're going to try to line the perimeter of the show with 20x20s. These great cars that you see all over Thunder Row, and we're going to put 50 cars up and down Thunder Row. So we're going to have really featured cars.
We've had an absolute fantastic time being here, and you put together a great show.
Hey, we'd love to have you guys here, and you're always welcome.
3, 2, 1.
Tell us how a pumpkin cannon became part of some of the cruises that you'll see across the state of Ohio.
I grew up a gearhead. My neighbors were wrenching on 67 Chevelles and 57 Nomads and things like that. Thursdays all throughout the year, mid-May through September, we do car cruises. Later in the year,
when the pumpkins are starting to get ripe or we have watermelons, we bring out the cannon and we bring out the van.
How far do you shoot them? If you're destroying a van, or I mean, are these close range shots, or can you do it from 150, 200 feet away?
All the damage done to this van was done by pumpkins. 6 to 8 inch pumpkins, 3 to 5 pounds, 40 PSI coming out of that cannon very, very rapidly. It's about 75 yards away when I'm doing this damage.
75 yards?
75 to 100 yards. The cannon itself has a range of about a half a mile. I really don't get out much with this. This is a new opportunity. This is a great show to come to. So the van is, this is the only place the van has been besides Mays Valley.
And when you started, said, hey, what can we do to show off this pumpkin cannon? What can we blow up or what can we destroy? And someone said, hey, how about that van over there? Or did it start by accident?
No, it was a kind of a thought through process. What's more fun than tearing up cars and shooting stuff and things like that? Michael Waltrip was at our place one time and he said, that gourd blower's got go, to quote the man. And anyhow, so we got a van, the local scrap, I have a local scrap guy who brings them to us. It's kind of just like a transition. We just borrow it for a while. You might say we pre-chew it before it goes to the scrap yard and gets recycled.
Any errant shots, any mishaps? Take down the neighbor's shed?
One ornamental cherry tree, that's all I can
Just
say.
one?
One ornamental cherry tree, and maybe kind of close to one goat. But other than that, I learned a little bit about how to fire that. I fire about 1,000 pumpkins a year out of that thing. I've fired about 10,000 pumpkins out of that pumpkin cannon since I built it.
And you said 40 PSI for like a 5 to 6 pound pumpkin?
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
Exactly. Stay in school, kids, and learn your physics. This is how it works right there. It's a whole lot of air volume being released in a very, very short period of time.
Now, 3, 2, 1.
Coming up next, we find this guy's car.
Yeah, that's my car.
He's very proud and should be. That's next on Cruise In. Back to more of the IX Piston Powered Auto-Rama on Cruise In. Let's start with Raisin Cane and Champagne Fizz.
Yeah, that's my car.
The names and the references I just described is actually the paint for the vehicle. How did you come up with that color combination?
Well, actually, me and my wife chose that. We had 3 colors picked. The top color is the Raisin Cane, and the bottom is the Champagne Fizz.
What made you gravitate towards the cabriolet? Where did the car start, and how did it arrive where it is today?
I wanted to build this car when I first saw them at the Street Rod Nationals, okay? And we had a Plymouth, a 38 Plymouth, and I more or less had to sell it to build this one. And I had this idea in my head about the Prowler headlights, and my wife said when I got it to go with my ideas, and this is how it ended up. It makes it really a fat fender car.
Talk about the power plant. You need something under the hood to move it. You try to take close enough to the era, or you decide I want to hop it up a little bit?
Well, it's a newer model engine. I actually won this engine at one of the Street Rod Nationals. It's a 350 horse, aluminum heads, carbureted engine. Right now, anyways, it's more than enough power plant for the light car.
And how often does the car go out? Is it hit the road, or is it a show-only car?
No, in the summertime, it's on the road every weekend. Every weekend. Rain doesn't matter. We put the top on it.
You've gone strictly to a hard top?
Yes. When I first started building this car, they hadn't developed a soft top frame yet for it. Since then, they've come out with a soft top, but it's just as easy to put the hard top on.
Well, it seems like you're very enthusiastic about the hobby in and of itself, and your car shows beautifully. Thanks for being on with us.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
You know, you run into a lot of old friends when you come to the Piston Powered Show, and once again, we're joined by Ed Purz. Ed, good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Ed spent some time on the show with us in the past. What's been going on with you and the car since you spent some time on cruising?
Well, I'm still working, so that takes up quite a bit of my time, but I found time to do a little travel. And of course, taking in Cavs games. But as far as shows go, we like to go to new shows every year. We've taken in the Auto Classic Show this year. And in November, we went down to Hilton Head for a Concours Classic Show down there. And we were fortunate enough to win a ribbon.
Not a whole lot of GTX out there, so you got to be a unique guy when you hit the road.
In this year, they only made a little over 15,000 of these. So I'm guessing there's probably less than half of those out there now.
Ed, thanks for being on with us again.
I appreciate
and hopefully
it.
we'll run into you again.
I hope so.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
John Lingenfelter, we got a 1958 Starline, a flexible, but we're missing an E. What happened to the E?
Well, at that point in time, they weren't allowed to trademark an actual word, so they just dropped the E out of it and went from there.
What made you go with a bus?
My daughter and I have done a bunch of cars through the years, and I just thought it'd be neat to have an old bus if we wanted to take a car and hit the road, so hence a bus.
And the flexible line was something that you were looking towards, or are you just looking for an opportunity?
I always loved the looks, the streamlined look of them, and so yeah, I was drawn to them, and it's kind of neat because they're built fairly locally in Loudonville, so it's a lot of fun, and as you see, it draws a lot of attention.
It was the type of bus that you would see as a touring, or was it like a transit bus?
Well, it was more of a touring bus. It was an over-the-road coach owned by Peter Pan Bus Lines in Massachusetts. So and when it retired from that, it got turned into a motorhome, and it's gone through a lot of incarnations through the years.
When you got it, what did it look like compared to what it looks like now?
Well, the body was fairly rough on it. The interior was pretty nasty in it. The cabinets were nice, but the rest of it needed a lot of work, so we ripped a lot of stuff out of it, and it had some water damage inside, so we had to rip the walls out and replaced all the plumbing and electrical, and redid all the upholstery and rebuilt dinettes, and basically redid almost everything inside of it except the cabinetry. And
how many of these are still on the road?
Well, this particular model, because it has the raised roof with the eyebrow windows in it, my understanding there's only around 12 to 15 of these still out and about. Not very many of them on the road. I've got a full metal working shop in my garage, so I was a machinist at one point in my life, so if I can't find it, I'll make it.
When you get an opportunity like this, do you look for the chance to upgrade something?
Yeah, we completely upgraded the drivetrain in this. We bought a school bus and took the drivetrain out of that and stuck it in the back of this thing.
All right, who in the family loves it more?
Well, that's tough to say, because the wife was a little reluctant at first, but now she seems to have fallen in love with it. And the daughter that spent a lot of time working on it has a passion for it as well.
So when your car has a big wind-up key and it makes it look like a big toy, well, you get a lot of attention. Ron Bako spent some time with us last year on Cruisin', and, well, he's getting a lot of attention again with his 64 Bug. Good to get out, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, when I came in, we pulled in. I kept driving around the IX Center just so I could drive it a little more. My buddy says, "We ever going in?" I said, "We will," and we eventually made it in.
This is a summertime car,
Oh,
man.
yeah. But we're driving it home. We're leaving here today. We load it up, and we're going to go home. We're driving it all the way home.
Coming up.
Drive it like I stole it, so.
Oh, we know. That's up next on Cruisin'. Welcome back to Cruisin'. I would probably be safe to guess that you're the fastest guy here.
I would say you're probably right. There's some fast cars, but right now we hold the record, and yeah, we are probably.
And what type of fuel you're running in?
We run alcohol. It's strictly 100% alcohol. The car is 285 inches long, Hemi powered, about 3,000 horse. And yeah, we currently hold the world record at 365. We run 8th mile.
Okay.
At about 200 mile an hour.
200 miles an hour and a little over 700 feet.
700 feet at a little over 3.5 seconds, yeah. Yeah.
You're pulling some G's when you're taking off.
Yeah, car pulls about 3 G's off the starting line. It sets you in your seat pretty good.
It seems, when you're a driver, it doesn't seem like 3 seconds. It actually seems like 15 seconds because there's so much going on. It's longer than a 3.5 second ride.
But when you're throwing that kind of horsepower out there, it can burn up some parts.
Yeah, we go through after every race, and actually at the racetrack we have a routine. I have the guys that work for us, and my kids are involved. But they tear the motor down after every race, all the way down to the pistons. It's pretty involved, but these guys have been with me. My crew's been with me for a long time, and I've often said, if I didn't have this crew, I probably wouldn't race, because these are key guys that we use and have, and they've been with me for a long time.
Well, Mike, you're the star because you're the guy behind the wheel, but they're the ones that really actually make it happen.
I don't know if I'm not really the star. I mean, these guys are really the hardcore that make it all happen. I mean, they just plug me in and, you know, tell me, drive it like I stole it, you know, so.
Tell us a little bit about the community. It's the PDRA. It's the new kind of open wheel outlaw competition.
PDRA is signed up 5 races. We have 5 races at Thompson. That's the same thing. It's the Asphalt Wars. And then we have 1 race at Norwalk, where Norwalk just announced they're going to take the 10 fastest dragsters in the country. That's an invite only, against the 10 fastest door cars in the country, qualify them to an 8-car field, and race off the dragsters against the door cars at the Night Under Fire.
That's some bragging rights.
Yes, that's going to be very cool. The Night Under Fire is the biggest race Norwalk has of the year, and it's a phenomenal racetrack as well. So we're really excited about that race.
Some guys are lucky enough to have 1 car in the show. How do you have 2? And tell us what we're looking at.
This is my friend Jimmy Wilson's economy modified races at Lorraine. The Fiat behind us is my car. It's my buddy's car with me and my friend John Tryluck. My friend Doug drives it, Doug Van Buskirk. John Tryluck is a crew chief. I'm the co-crew chief. Everything on that car is pretty much hand-built by all 3 of us.
For something like Altered State, where would folks see you out and about, let's say over the season?
Well, we start out at the first of the season. We'll be at Thompson Raceway Park for the Gasser reunion. I think it's the end of May or the 1st of June, and then we'll be at the Blue Suede Cruise at Norwalk, and some of the door car wars, I think it's called, or asphalt wars at Thompson again. Then we'll be back out for Night Under Fire at Norwalk, and you can see Matt race at Lorain County Speedway every weekend.
Next up,
I started hearing rumors about airplanes that were called scramjets that flew at Mach 4 or Mach 5.
So Barry built one of his own. That's next on Cruise In. Now, back to more of the IX Piston Powered Auto-Rama on Cruise In. Barry, when we last spoke, I asked you, what's the next project? And you said, I can't tell you. We're looking at it. Tell us about the scramjet.
The idea behind it was to take a 2nd generation Camaro, 70 and newer, and try to make kind of a theme project out of it. And in the middle of it, I started hearing rumors about airplanes that were called scramjets that flew at Mach 4 or Mach 5. And they're kind of top secret, nobody talks about them. But there were drawings and images out there. And so I just kind of used that as a basis for what we did with the car.
When you look in the engine compartment, there's not a whole lot of mechanicals that are visual to the fender wells. It looks like it's a tight fit in there. What's under the hood?
It's actually technically called a small block, but it's an LS7 427 cubic inch small block. It's what comes in a Z06 Corvette, about 505 horsepower. The inner fenders were all finished off to kind of make it look more aircraft-like and also to smooth it out. But we left enough engine detail so people can still tell it's an engine. But it kind of fit in with this, my basic theme of smooth and clean, plus the aircraft idea behind the car.
And there's a ton of technology at the dashboard level. Tell us about that.
Well, we worked with a company called Infinity Box that has developed a system that you can use a central screen in the dash to basically do all car functions, pull up navigation and rear camera, 4 or 5 different gauge packages, and gives you the extra benefit of hooking it into a smartphone so that while you're standing close by, you can raise and lower the windows, open and close the vents, even start and stop the car.
What's next for Barry Penfound?
Actually, it's going to be a car that hopefully reflects the newer trends that happen in terms of overall detail, but it's going to have some retro feel to it. There's going to be some heritage stuff like there usually is in a little bit of the theme of the car. So there'll be some leaks of information as the year goes by, but for this kind of stuff, it's always neat to kind of debut it at the beginning of the year as this car did here and at Detroit. So,
well, we're looking forward to seeing it. Barry, appreciate you being on with us again.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
The Sanford & Son truck has been on display the entire time here at the Piston Powered Show. It's drawing huge crowds. Now, as we kind of wrap things up here, and of course, Jeff and Tim from Blue Line, you guys are going to take this thing on the road.
We intend on driving it.
Planning on the Power Tour.
Okay.
Ride Power Tour.
What's the Power Tour?
June 6th to June 12th. It's basically about a 1,300-mile ride across the country, and check out a few stops every way. There's a car show every day. You get going to about 200-300 miles a day, and at the end of each day, you stop at a hotel, and there's a big car show in the parking lot.
You guys fight over who's going to drive?
I know I'm driving.
Yeah, he's not driving.
Yeah. That's going to wrap things up here for Cruising at the Piston Powered Show. We'll see the Sanford & Son truck on the Power Tour, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.